Welcome to the Bayou City Soccer Podcast. Whether inside or outside the loop, we are talking everything soccer in Houston. Y'all ready? Let's get it.
Green, I'm gripping candy. Oh, sorry, my bad.
You can keep going. I was gonna say, yeah, I kind of saw it coming. You saying something, but welcome to another episode of the Bayou City Soccer Podcast, guys. I hope you're doing all right. Of course, you can tell who's here. It's me, Rudy Segura, and of course, Cristian Putalia's brother. How you doing?
Good. How's it going, man? It feels like it's been forever since I've been on the podcast. It probably has been forever, but I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. It's been a little bit since we've had you. Last time I did it by myself, which was odd. I give you props, man. I mentioned, I don't know if you got to listen, but I mentioned how I'm not Finister. I'm not Cristian Putalias and doing 4-4-2 by themselves. It's difficult, man. I can talk a lot, but I don't know if I can really talk to myself. So I don't know if I'm crazy or you guys are the crazy ones, man.
No, you got to be a little bit crazy to be able to talk to yourself, like you're talking to somebody.
Right. Hell, even Glenn Davis does that too. So.
Right. Hey, there's a little bit of a psychopath in there.
Yeah, I don't know if I can do it all the time. I was thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? At this point, if any future recordings I have to go solo, it is what it is, just so we can get them out. It's a little harder whenever I'm out because it's harder on you guys to kind of get it all set up and stuff. But I'm like, man, if it's just me, I'll do it. But I'm gonna keep it short and sweet, man. It's difficult to say the least. But man, glad to be here talking to you. We already got Dago involved, which is great. Dago says, "Do you guys think Ponce was robbed?" We'll talk more about the Dynamo towards the end of the episode, but I will say no, he didn't get robbed. That defender hit that cleanly into an own goal, which sucks. You wanted Ponce to get in the board, man. Yeah, a lot of soccer. We were obviously we know that the Dynamo played yesterday, Tuesday. Yeah, yesterday. Monday night game. And then Saturday there was a Tigres Inter Miami game for Leagues Cup as well that was hyped. And I don't know, I can't say it got overhyped. I think it was hyped enough. Unfortunately, injuries and all that stuff kind of changed this some. But we can start there, man. Let's start with the Tigres versus Inter Miami before we get any further, and then I'll ask you other questions that we can have a little bit of fun. But just, we were there, Christian. Obviously, we got to go to that game and cover it at NRG. No Messi, no Luis Suarez, as I mentioned. That kind of deflated the game a little bit. It was pretty evident, obviously seeing him the way he was in the Copa America final with that nasty looking cankle.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty bad that he wasn't going to play. And so whenever he was out, it was like, well, there's still Busquets, there's still Jordi Alba, there's still Luis Suarez. So people are still kind of happy about it. And they still showed up. And I think it was nearly 45,000. Is that the number that you had, around 45,000?
Yeah. I don't remember top of my head, but it was somewhere in the 45s, 43 or 45. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was close to 45,000 people in there, which is still pretty good pool.
Good
I mean, you said it, and even I thought about it too, of how a lot of people are trying to dish their tickets day of or the day before. Everybody's trying to get rid of them, trying to make someone their money back. Talking to some people, they would mention how, well, for instance, I know that my in-law, my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law, they bought tickets right when they came out. They actually, I helped them out as what's it called, being a member of the Dynamo season ticket holders. I got the link a day or two before they came out to sell to everybody. So they got them from the site and not a resale, and they still paid $120 with fees and taxes per ticket, which to me, dude, and I've said this before, maybe it's because soy codo, I really don't like wasting money like that, but I don't think I could spend that and it's not a lot. $120 to see Messi like
That's
it's not a lot of money. It's not a lot of money. You see what I'm saying? Like compared to like the people that would like obviously pay like thousands of dollars in that Copa America final that was, obviously a disaster. But and hopefully suing those people they get their money back. But yeah, so $120 for me sounds like a lot of money just because that's that's how I am. But it's nothing, right? It really isn't if you put it in perspective, because then we find out that my sister-in-law was saying how her friend bought a pair of tickets for her and her dad, and they paid $500 each, bro. $500 each. That right there is like, holy.
That hurts.
A little bit of a heart attack. Yeah, no kidding, dude. It's that hurt. And then again, I get it. You want to go see Messi. You want to see the GOAT. Hey, Rushan is back. There you go. I know Rushan. I think out of the country. He said, when did Christian decide to change colors? Christian. Yeah. Wait. And then how was Cincinnati? Man, there's a lot of good questions in here. I wanted to see Gignac the GOAT. I did too, man. So I was excited that even though, and Christian was there, I couldn't stop talking about Busquets. Busquets is like my guy. I mean, being a Barcelona fan, seeing Jordi, seeing Busquets was pretty nice. We didn't really get to chat with them after the game. They weren't about that life.
They flew by.
Yeah, we talked to guys that played like 10 minutes, bro. That's who they give you. But yeah, no, I kind of went overboard adding a lot of stuff, but I wanted to get your perspective about the game, about the atmosphere. I know you got there a little sooner than I did. So what did you like? What did you see, man?
No, it was fun. It was a good game overall, I think. I mean, it was a 2-1 game, and it kind of went down all the way to the last minutes, right? It was very competitive. It was very kind of like, some rough moments here and there, but overall it was really good. I got to give it up to the people from Tigres, though. They when I first pulled up, they were kind of like I started to hear some noises, some chanting and stuff like that. And then when I looked into the street, there was 4 school buses full of Tigres fans with flags kind of like hanging from the outside, flags, coming out the windows. And it was really fun. Honestly, it reminded me of kind of like my childhood in a way, because I remember when we used to travel from, club to club, this is all like neighborhood clubs, right? But we would like fill up like 2 buses. It was mostly like the players and the family of the players that would travel. And usually every team, we call it categoría, but like every age group will usually have their own flag that had all the name of the players on there. And like you usually would like display it, on the outside of the bus, or sometimes it wasn't even like a school bus. Sometimes it was a freaking like a flatbed, and then people were like riding on the flatbed. Very dangerous to have a bunch of 8-year-olds in a flatbed, going through the city. But no, it was fun. It was fun. A bunch of people, I think they created the atmosphere that you want to see in a game like that. And even though, it's a giant stadium that can fit, twice as much as people that they had, I think the Tigres people, they put on a good show. It was a good amount of them. Obviously in a stadium of that size, it looks anything that you kind of, if you don't fill it up, it looks small. But if you actually look at what they filled up like one section pretty good behind one of the goals. And, they had a whole tifo, smoke bombs. They had, tirantes. Yeah, they were like the real deal. And then obviously, the good old wave came by. I remember we were like fascinated, how many times it kind of went around. And even when Miami scored, like obviously there's not Miami fans out there,
right?
But there's a lot of like Messi fans, and a lot of people wearing pink, a lot of people wearing the black jersey. But I think I was gonna pull this up earlier. Hold on. I mean, this is still a reality, right?
Right.
But el Inter Miami es una mierda. But there was a lot of people that obviously went there for Messi. They couldn't see him, but they ended up cheering for Miami. So whenever they scored, the place erupted as well. Not only when Tigres scored, but obviously Tigres had the upper hand. They came out victorious.
Some good goals too.
Good goals, yeah. I agree.
The
And
first one by Brunetta was pretty nice.
that one's really nice.
Nice setup, one touch shot, pretty good stuff. And yeah, I just going back to the stadium aspect of it. Yeah, I mean 45,000, and whenever you have like a 75,000 capacity at NRG, seems like, oh man, wow, that's not that great. But in all reality, it is a club team after all, right? And what's crazy is that, whenever they bring Tigres or Rayados or America, like a big team in Mexico currently winning titles, they you bring them to Shell Energy Stadium and they fill it up. They are worst case scenario, they get 20 out of 22,000 people in there. And like you said, just because it's a small stadium, it looks packed, it's crazy. But you just think about it in reverse, in the sense of you got double that amount, right, at NRG from what you're used to. And I kept seeing on Twitter and on Instagram a lot of people reacting to, like, it felt like playing in Tigres Stadium, in El Volcán. Just they got that atmosphere, obviously a lot of people were in it. At one point that they, like you mentioned, the wave. At one point they also like took out their phones and the whole lighting. I mean, the people were feeling it, and it was loud. You can tell it was loud from even where we're at. And it was a nice atmosphere. I mean, obviously, like, Messi would have made it the kicker, and it probably would have been even crazier, and way more people in the stadium if it wasn't that he was injured and stuff. People probably would have sold it out. But it's still pretty incredible, man. It's still pretty incredible. And but I did feel awful for the people that paid, $500 a ticket for that, because I don't know if it was necessarily worth that, in general. Again, the GOAT, Gignac, maybe if you're a big Gignac fan, you pay for it, But it's just crazy, dude. Anything else you want to add about that game that we didn't mention, or that you noticed, or that you want to just?
I mean, just overall, it was just a fun time. Honestly, we don't get to cover a lot of international games or teams that we're not, physically, literally physically involved with, or just, like, we don't have any affection for them. But obviously, being with you, being with Dustin, with Manny, and some of the other colleagues that we get to, like, see, day in and day out, it just kind of makes it fun, right? So, like, we know how to have fun in the press box. We kind of make our own. And I mean, I got a wristband out of it, which is pretty badass.
So what was the story behind the wristband again? Like, what did it mean?
It has the full, like, game of the final, right? So it starts here, and then Argentina scored, and then of course they scored back to back. France, Argentina scored, and then France tied it up at the end, and you can't really see it, but it's the penalty shots. So 4 for Argentina, and then 2 for
that's pretty
France.
badass.
Yeah.
That's very, I heard you kind of mentioning the goals, and I was like, I thought that's what it was. What you just described, which obviously it is, and it makes a lot of sense. Cool little bracelet.
It was fun. I mean, I think even the after the game was fun. Just kind of waiting for the players. And just kind of hanging out. Same thing. Getting to talk to people that maybe you haven't seen in a little bit.
Oh, and shout out to the guy that stopped us. The guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wish we would have gotten his name. Honestly, he caught me off guard.
Yeah, I know, because you don't expect it, especially back there, getting kind of recognized. Not that we're like super popular by any means, but it feels good to see, like, people doing it. So actually, Guy, if you're listening to this, because I didn't get a name, we didn't get a name. Guy, I won't even say where he works, but Guy with the red shirt with the beard that kind of looks like me in a way, right? He had a beard, right?
Yeah, a little beard.
Okay. If you're listening to this, man, hit us up on our social media, because actually I thought about it after the factory shit. I'm like, man, we should give the guy a sticker or something. I had a bunch in my backpack and blew it on there. But dude, reach out, say I'm the guy. If you tell me what shirt you're wearing, because only me and Christian know what shirt you're wearing, tell us and we'll hook you up, man. We'll try to give you either definitely some stickers and maybe some tickets for a Dynamo. I promise that, if you hit us up. So hit us up on, which is a good segue. Christian, tell the people where they can hit us up on.
Yes, you can go to our website is BayouCitySoccer.net. That's where you're going to find everything and anything that we do there, all our work, all of our, stuff that we write and just pictures. Man, photographers fire pictures for every game that basically is happening in Houston and even outside of Houston. And then just fire content. You're going to find that at Bayou City Soccer on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and of course the YouTube channel. Go check that out. I will be posting the Ben Olsen press conference after this, so you can check that out. But yeah, man, BayouCitySoccer.net, and don't forget to check out Ugly Guppy at uglyguppy.com. Those are the best sponsors at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. We got the guys taking pictures for us, our creative team. We have a creative team. Isn't that kind of crazy?
That's wild.
To say? We have like 4 or 5 different guys doing a lot of creative stuff for us, taking pictures, videos. They've done a great job, man. And you know what? They, whenever we, for whatever reason, we can't make a game, like I couldn't make the game, you couldn't make the game on Monday. Yeah. Some of those guys are like, hey, I'm available. Let me go do it. So they're able to cover the team for pictures and post-game conference if they can make it out as well. So it's kind of nice to get a little bit of a substitution, a little bit of a break. But we have a big game on Friday. Hopefully, I'm planning to be there. Hopefully, I don't know if you're gonna be able to make it.
I should be there.
There you go. Don't forget to send in that application.
I already did.
Good. Dago says I'm that guy, bro. Trust me. Dago is not because I don't trust you. It's just that I don't trust a lot of people. So if you tell me what shirt you're wearing and you get it right, even though then maybe we'll see you at a game. Come get a sticker from us. Rushan, same thing, man. Everybody that listens to the show, whether it be live or the podcast, we would love to do that for you guys. But Christian, all right, we already talked Tigres. Next up was Dynamo 2. I don't know. I don't think you got to a Dynamo Tuesday article.
I haven't. No.
Okay. But just real quick, we do have a interview with Diego Gonzalez, the
player of the month.
Yeah, but a player of the month, man. He's been very, very good. What's it called? Very good form as of late. I think even whenever they were struggling, he was still probably one of their better players. And with him, with Brooklyn Reigns got all the way to the final for the U20s CONCACAF Championship. So there's a lot of good talented players there. But Dynamo 2, unfortunately for them, and their 5-game undefeated streak, they ended up losing to Colorado Rapids. If I'm not mistaken, the Rapids were actually the last time they lost was against the Rapids, and they didn't lose 5 games, and then they lost against the Rapids. So pretty interesting that Rapids have their numbers so far this year. Hopefully they continue the streak going, because now they'll be playing here on Sunday night at SaberCat Stadium against St. Louis City 2. So far, the Dynamo 2 look like they're trying, man. They're trying to do a little bit of a lift up, Chris.
Yeah. I mean, they're getting there. Like you mentioned, last month was a really good month for them. Back-to-back wins against Austin and North Texas, which is FC Dallas. With clean sheets, then a victory over LAFC 2, which is also a difficult team at times. It was a great month, like we mentioned. We got a player of the match, or the match week, which was Diego. I think it was against the Austin game, or the North Texas game, sorry. Mm-hmm. And then he at the end was player of the month. So yeah, like you said, a lot of talent, a lot of young talent also coming in. DiMorelli also making an appearance. I don't want to start naming off because I'm going to forget, but one of the guys that kind of, just blew up out of nowhere was DiMorelli, young guy. I think he's like 16 years old. So, a lot of prospects, a lot of youth academy players.
Eagle scoring,
There you go. Hey, he scored Braze, I think, like back-to-back. So he's, everybody's killing it, which is good. A lot of these guys are getting minutes and those, hoping to, maybe now it's going to be difficult for Gabe Siegel with so much, power up top that the Dynamo has. with Ponce, Sebastian, you can throw Seba.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of guys, right? So it's gonna be difficult, but as long as he stays in form, who knows? Who knows?
All right. Well, before we continue on, again, we'll go into the interview, a short interview that Dustin was able to do this morning with Diego Gonzalez. So we thank, I think Edgar Belize, man, such a great job, with the communication department. He takes over the dash and those right now. So it's great to have Edgar's support for sure, man.
No, shout out to Edgar, shout out to Jack, man. They've been killing it. And John V and like a bunch of everybody that basically has been helping us out. Honestly, Houston Dynamo, the communications team has been, very good to us. And not only that, but in exchange, we get to show that to everybody that watches our content. So, thank you for them to kind of, have the fan be able to reach out to the players.
Yeah, thanks for putting your trust in us. Like we try to do a good job of obviously winning that trust. Yeah. So that's how we do it, man. By the way, can you pause and comment interview as well if you want? By the way, can you pause and comment interview? I don't mind. I'm confused, Rushan. What were you trying to say? Pause the interview. Do the interview. I'm not sure, but anyways, we'll go ahead and play the interview. It's only about 10 minutes, so we'll play that and then we'll go straight into Dynamo talk, man, because Dynamo talk goes hard.
Welcome back to the Bayou City Soccer Podcast. We are pleased to be joined today by Houston Dynamo 2 captain Diego Gonzalez. Diego, how's it going?
How's it going, guys? Thank you for having me here. Everything's going pretty good.
So you were just named MLS Next Pro Player of the Month. You guys playing a lot better as a team as well. What's been key to you guys, after that slow start, getting back into the swing of things for you and the team, really?
Yeah, I think we kind of found this little run that we, the more of a feeling that we had after winning one game, it was never really we never really thought that we weren't actually that good. It's just the results weren't really coming our way. We were always playing the same way that we want to play. And it was just now we're being more consistent about actually, when it came to finishing goals, we were doing that. When it came to defending, just the little details. I think everybody got that dialed in, and that's what's been key for us.
Yeah, we get to talk to your coach, Kenny Bundy, a lot before games. He's very he has a lot of praise for you. But what's it like playing for a guy like Kenny? He's been around. He's been with you guys for a while. What's it like getting to play for him?
No, it's a really good experience. I've been knowing him for a long time, and there's never a day where you don't get new information. He's always teaching you different things every day. Even it might be like little simple details that you might think you already know, but just to have somebody behind your back like telling you, hey, make sure you do this, or like if you can do this like that, it just helps a lot, as a player.
Last year, you guys were a little more of a veteran team. A lot of those guys left this year. Seems like you guys are much younger this season. What's been the big difference, just from the team and you getting to be the captain this year? What's it like getting to lead, this kind of younger core of players that were coming through the academy?
It's more of a different role this year, just because last year, we had guys from a lot of experience. And now as me being one of them, it's just taking the toll in that, I got to help the young guys, last year it was people helping me. Now it's the other way around. I got to, whatever I was taught, I just have to put that in the young ones' heads and them go from there, learn every day from it.
Yeah. We've seen you get to play in a lot of different roles kind of in the midfield and attacking and stuff. You get to train with the first team, guys like Hector, guys like Coco, Amin. What's it like getting to learn from guys like that who are so well-rounded in their games?
Yeah, for sure. Besides them being great players, they have great personalities. And not only that, they every time I go train with the first team, they help me as well. They always ask about me, like, hey, how's it going with the second team? We've seen that you guys are getting results. We've seen that you guys are actually like you guys are playing good, And then they start giving me a little advice here and there, especially from Hector. Every time I go over there, he tells me like, hey, it's like the little details that he went through. Just try to pass it on to me, and I think that helps a lot.
Does Hector tell you that you're gonna take his job one day, or do you tell him?
He hasn't mentioned it yet, but we've been having conversations about like what was it the other day? We were talking like the midfield that they have. It's pretty young. They have a pretty well for the starters right now. It's very good, and then if you look at like the young ones that are coming up, it's good as well. So it's just day by day.
Yeah, and you've been around obviously for a while coming out of the academy. We're starting to see kind of a lot of these academy players, a lot of these young guys. You guys have some 15, 16-year-olds on your team.
Mm-hmm.
But being one of the veterans, what's it like, being from Houston, starting to see this academy? People talk about like Houston should be this soccer hotbed, right? What's it like now as you kind of starting to see that take off?
I think what you just said was actually pretty like correct. These 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, they're adapting pretty well when they come up to the second team. It doesn't seem like if they're actually 15. The way they're playing and the way they, obviously the physicality is going to be a little bit different, but them just doing the simple things right, it makes them stand out a little bit more. Than just because typically like when you have a young one come up to training, they're a little bit scared. It's always like that, but you see some people that have personality, and I think that's what helps a lot.
We get to talk to guys a lot, and they talk about like what they want to do in Houston. Being a local kid, do you get to be like a tour guide for guys? Do you get to show guys around, show them what's it like in the city?
Of course, yeah. I have like some friends, asked me or like told me like what was the experience like going to the academy. Maybe because they want to do the same thing. Like, hey, I want to join the academy. Some advice. And I think for me, it's a good feeling because they're asking me, like basically that they're looking up to me. If I seen you, go through that position, then maybe you can help this guy out. And it's never a bad thing to help somebody out. Always got to stay humble.
Yeah. So you're still a very young guy. We've seen a number of midfielders around the world, that are these star players. Who have you kind of molded your game after, or who are some guys you look up to around the world?
Since I was young, I'm not gonna lie, I always used to watch the selección and I would see Hector Herrera play. Same with Guardado, I always try to, I always look up to them, and now that I get to play with them, it's fun. But now I guess you can say, I don't know if you know Charlie Rodriguez from Cruz Azul. He's a very good player, and I've seen him play when he was in Monterrey, and that's kind of somebody that I was like, kind of compared myself to, in every way. He's not that tall either, so
Yeah, perfect.
That's another part of it.
So before we let you go, Diego, you guys obviously pushing for the playoffs now. You have got yourself back in position. So what is the goals now for you guys for the rest of the season, just as a team and for you individually?
That's the main goal, try to get as many wins as we can to get to that playoff spot. I think we don't have anything else in mind than just to take one game at a time, and then knowing that, the more we do it, the more we have more of a chance.
He's Houston Dynamo 2 midfielder captain Diego Gonzalez. Diego, we really appreciate the time, man. Good luck at training today. Stay warm, stay cool out there, actually. And we'll talk to you again soon, bud.
And you guys.
Yeah, man. Diego Gonzalez, man. Good interview by Dustin. Dago, to answer your question, no, he has not played on a national team from either Mexico or the U.S. He's very talented, man. I see him, and I know we mentioned he's a veteran. He's getting older in that Houston Dynamo 2 Academy. I believe, how old is he? Like 21?
21.
Okay.
21
so it's one of those that 21 sounds young. And he can still break in. No, that's not a big deal. But it's like, yeah, he's right there. I think that I was hoping that he would get an opportunity at Leagues Cup, but the team is just too good. We're like, you really can put him for anybody. Maybe at this point, maybe Coco Carrasquilla being injured could be an opening for him. Because again, he's different, man. He's a player. It's hard to describe what position he plays. But what I like about Diego, watching a bunch of his game, he's not afraid to just let the ball rip. Take some shots. Something we don't see often with any other player or with Dynamo 2 and with the first team, man. But yeah, and Diego Gonzalez, very well. Didn't you talk to his dad like from the get go?
Yeah, funny enough, one of the first, I think it was the first year that the MLS Next Pro, I got to go to I think it was like a scrimmage between the first team and the MLS Next Pro team at that time. And yeah, just randomly started talking to a gentleman there, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm the dad of this little young guy, Diego." And we just kind of got chatting, and it was it's very interesting story that like the one he has, because he actually played for his dad. His dad had like your typical local kids team in one of these parks around the city, and somehow somewhere he got scouted by the Houston Dynamo, and he talked to me. He mentioned how hard it was to kind of make that decision, because you go playing for your dad. Mm-hmm. Everything that means to your dad having his own team, to the hometown club kind of wanting you, right? And all the sacrifices that entails, going to trainings, however many times they train in a week, and maybe after school, you want to go hang out with your homies or whatever it may be, high school or middle school, whatever, but you have to go train, and all this because you one of these days you want to make it to the pros, you want to be the professional you want to be. And you can see the progression of Diego Gonzalez like super clearly, because from the first season that he started, he kind of seemed like a timid guy in the field, and then as Dustin and he was saying, now with 21 years old, even though he's still young, he's a veteran. And and now, like he said, he has 16-17-year-old kids looking up to him as one of the guys that has been there the longest, captain, around his arm. And he's kind of the leader, in a sense. Well, I mean, literally one of the leaders of this team. And not only that, but, you have a lot of international players that are bringing in to compete, against him and against the, other guys in other positions. And he kind of has to be, the guy for them, in this new country, in this new league. The good thing that he has, obviously, he's bilingual. He can communicate with everybody. And something crazy that caught my eye with him and his whole story is that, the fact that he kind of grew up, in a way, idolizing Hector Herrera.
Right.
And today he literally gets to train with him, gets to talk to him, gets to get, advice from him. A guy that has played national team, World Cups, Champions Leagues, like a guy that has a giant resume, on his arm. And now he can, share that information with this kid that, like we mentioned, he might be the successor in that position. So we'll see what happens. He's still young. He has a whole career ahead of him. And, who knows? Maybe we'll see him with the Dynamo. Maybe we don't. But I think he's very talented, and he'll end up playing soccer for a good long time. So
yeah, I agree. And even like Dago mentions, is like if Diego can stay consistent, I can see him getting called up to either Mexico or the U.S. national team, youth national team.
Yeah.
No, I agree, man. He's very good. I'm telling you, he just needs to be consistent. I think. Remember when Marcelo Palomino was there? Obviously, we were kind of wondering who was going to take over.
Yeah.
Diego is the guy that took over as that 8-10 role, and he's very different. I think he has something. I think he's not there yet. You hope that by the end of the season he kind of levels up, that he gets an opportunity with the first team, and if not, with the MLS, hopefully he gets, like you said, maybe play somewhere else, USL, something that this kid has a future to kind of get a little bit of a platform. But he's doing very well. The funniest part, obviously, shout out to Dustin for doing that interview when Diego mentioned if he knew Charlie Rodriguez. 100%, I know that Dustin knows Chandler Rodriguez. Like he
He's a
knows
nerd.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the nerd in Dustin, man. Now I need to ask him that, but I'm pretty sure he knew exactly who that was. Like for real. But Christian, dude, let's talk Dynamo, man. Dynamo, massive win. They needed a massive win. I think they needed to win by at least 2 goals to get into the next stage of Leagues Cup. So they put 3 on the first half, and it ended that way. You were kind of hoping more goals to come. RSL did not look like the RSL that Dynamo been playing. Again, I think before the game, I asked Ben Olsen and Dorsey the similar question of like, you guys have played this team 7 times, I think, before this one, which was eight games in a year, which is crazy, right? I mean, who plays that many games in between each other? And the question that I had for them was, did it make it easier or harder when it came to for Ben specifically for the coaching staff to make it difficult? And he had a great answer. He's like, it's easy, it's hard. It's like, it's easy because we have more tape on them, but it makes it a little bit challenging on kind of like, the way that you want to go about it, just because it's been back and forth. It hasn't been like, I think if you look at it, every home team has won their matchup. So, whether if Houston played at home, they won, whether it be, pure in 90 minutes or in penalties, because they played against each other in penalties as well before. So it's just kind of interesting, that setup. But 3-0. Ponce, or no, let me see. It was, who opened it up? It was
Victor.
Ache from a long distance. That he shot that thing great. They got deflected. It went in. You take those. The second one was from the header from Mikael with Ache with the assist, which was very good. Not free throw. Very good. It wasn't a cross. I mean, it was a cross, but it was a set piece, right? It wasn't a corner.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
So it was a great set piece by Hector Herrera. I mean, it was a challenging kick because it was kind of in no man's land. Like the goalie wasn't really going to be able to do nothing, and all it needed was just a redirection, which Mikael did a perfect job on that. And then lastly was a very good setup. I think it starts with no, it wasn't Ache. I think it went to. It all started with Sviatchenko. Sviatchenko plays it to Griffin Dorsey. Dorsey hits it towards the middle. And Justin Glad, the defender for RSL, hits that dead on, goes in. Looked like Ponce got it. I think everybody's happy. Like finally, the number 10, the guy they spent $8 million for, got a goal, but it's yet to be the case, man. But what did you like about that? About the first half, and obviously the second half, more of the same for the Dynamo. They just couldn't get a goal. We know how fast Lawrence Inali is. Obviously. Comes in a substitution meant for men for Ibrahim Aliyu. I would like to see both of them on the field, but right now that's kind of where they're at. But yeah, man, just your thoughts on the game.
No, I believe Houston played a pretty good game, even though the stats will tell you that it was pretty even and maybe leaning towards the side of Real Salt Lake. XGs and stuff like that. Possession of the ball, but it was a pretty even game. But at the end of the day, like I was telling my wife, it's not about stats. It's about who scores and who wins. It's not how many chances you had, is how many chances you were able to put away. A lot of something that I really like personally was the high pressure from the Dynamo. I feel like that high pressure basically gave the Dynamo a lot of chances. Unfortunately, I feel like Bassi did not play a really good game, and I think you agree with that. but I a lot of the turnovers.
I keep telling the guys I keep telling the guys to come in the podcast. I keep telling Dustin and Joey to come in the podcast and tell me why. I mean, Bassi doesn't suck. Let's just go with that. But
it's fine.
But no, you're right, and. Another thing too was Tarbell getting the start. Obviously the lineup is basically your starting 11, your best 11, except for maybe Tarbell because Clark tends to be the one there. But Tarbell had a really good night too, man. He had some very good saves.
there were some saves that you were like, man, Tarbo like really outdid himself in this one. He was stopping shots from very close range. He was coming out of his line a couple of times to kind of act like a sweeper. Honestly, for being a guy that obviously doesn't get a lot of minutes, obviously he did whenever Clark was out, and he got most of the minutes in the U.S. Open Cup usually. For being a guy that, it's a secondary goalkeeper, he did a heck of a job. I mean, clean sheet, which is, anything that all the goalkeepers just kind of dream for a perfect night like that. 3-0, clean sheet, a bunch of really good saves, you being attentive, coming in to close down on defenders. One of the things that they were saying on the broadcast, which was pretty accurate, was that both teams attacked with so many players that whenever counters kind of happen, at least for the RSL side, you could see it. Like a lot of times it was a 3v3 or like a 4v4 or 2v2. And you needed the presence of the goalkeeper to kind of act as another defender. And Tarbo did that. He acted like another defender. He, impenetrable in the back, and I mean, heck of a job. But going back a little bit to the Bossy situation, I feel like the Dynamo did recover pretty high on the field, and a lot of those balls were landing on Bossy, and he would just kind of have brain farts, and like he didn't know what to do with it, or the passes were either too sloppy or too slow or too hard. And I think maybe I counted at least 3 of them where something could have happened that could have made it a little bit more dangerous and could have gave the Dynamo a better opportunity at goal. And if it wasn't for a bad pass or a bad decision, from Bossy himself, obviously the guys will tell you that he's one of the best players out there. And he does have some really good, sparks of creativity and everything. But I just feel like we needed a little something from him. But, hey, it is what it is.
No, okay, we'll build up a little bit on that because I don't want people to say like, oh my God, Rudy Segura said Bossy sucks. And that just starts a big controversy because that's fine. I'm okay with that. I give me a little bit of backlash. If I learned anything from Cesar Procel is we should love drama, bro. So we need to steer the pot a little bit. But no, the part about Bossy and the reason why what I see is that yes, his stats are very good. You compare him to some of the creative passes or either creating chances or progressive passes. Yeah, they're high, but I really need to make a reel. And maybe, you know what, this is if somebody from the Dynamo is listening, since they have all the footage of Bossy already, I'm sure they can just go back and see every single touch that Bossy takes. He didn't do it as much in this game in particular because I feel like he didn't have that many passes towards the. It does say that he had 5 passes in the final third, so I guess those would be progressive passes. But my issue with a lot of Bossy's passes towards the top of the field is that there's times that the guys are wide open. He may have Aliu wide open and he just doesn't see him. And so he doesn't pass it whenever, guys wide open, making a run, has the better possibility of beating their defender. Bossy then in other places where he does hit it forward, he's hitting it when a guy has 2 or 3 guys on them. So of course it still counts as a forward pass, but it just ended there because the guy's gonna you hit the guy takes a touch or 2 and he gets dispossessed. So that to me is not as it doesn't translate to me on what I'm seeing to what the paper's telling me. I understand that the ball is being passed closer to the opposing or opponent's goal, but at the end of the day, it's just ending there. It's just stopping there because I feel like he misses the guy that is wide open and tends to make it difficult for the the forward or the striker to possess the ball, even though obviously he hits him, makes connects with him, and the ball just kind of goes nowhere. And you see that too with shots as well. Sometimes there's times that he could take a shot and he doesn't. He decides to like pass it back or do something else. So as a 10, as the position that he's playing, It's not there yet for me. It's not there yet, and so that's where if I'm gonna simple term it, I'm gonna say Basi sucks as of late. So
it's crazy because Basi it's kind of like the only player in the Dynamo that plays like him. Because a lot of people would say that the Polish Seva.
Yeah, I like Kowalczyk. Kowalczyk is good,
but I feel like he's different. He's a different style, right? Like he's more of a.
He's flashy. He es más atrevido for sure. Yeah. Like he's quicker to counter and attack. The ball. It's a little bit different. I feel like Basi I feel Kovacic has a potential to be more of a 10, like a legit 10. And Basi kind of struggles. I don't think he knows exactly
He's a slow 10.
Very slow. A lot of his stuff. 10. Yes. Like and I mean he tracks back. I mean, we saw him, right?
Yeah, he hustles.
He they all do in the team, but him for the position that he is, Riquelme would never, right? Or Maradona would never. Like some specific 10s, Cuauhtémoc Blanco, I don't remember him defending much. Bofo, same thing. Like they're just players that's they only see the game one way. It's purely attack. If your team does not have the ball, that you're basically playing with 10 men. So, and that's not the case. So we give him credit for that. But at times that when he would track back, he would still not play the simple pass. He'll make it complicated. He was too slow. He just looks sometimes like he's just in slow motion. Trying to get out, and so that makes it difficult for him to build up as well. So. It's different. It's different. Rushan says Basi has rectangular hands. That's unique. I have no clue what the hell that means, but that's hilarious because I guess it is unique if you have rectangular hands. And Dago mentioned earlier that if it wasn't because Ponce pressed Glad, then it wouldn't have been a goal. But it's like if Maradona hadn't touched that ball or Henry hadn't touched that ball, it would have been a goal. So this is the what if type of thing. At the end of the day, definitely an own goal.
I mean, it's coming. I mean, he had some really good chances. I mean, there was that last one from Benali that he made that run. He put a cross in and he went with the back heel and then hit the goalie like it seemed like in the face.
Yes, yeah.
He's close. He's close. Like it's close. Coming anytime soon. You can tell the guy has, it's a quality.
That was a great save, by the way, too. Because it originally looked like hit him in the face, but it was actually his hand. Like he was able to get that out. No, it is coming. I think I like Ponce. He's very fast. I didn't expect him to be that fast. He presses well. He works hard. So the goals are coming. I think it's just a matter of kind of clicking, especially with Lawrence Anali. The way that they're using him coming in at the end of the game. I mean, the guy's already fast. And so the defenders playing 70 minutes in Houston Heat is going to be difficult for some players to get that. So, I mean, hopefully, this game against Toluca, and we'll kind of transition a little bit into that. Obviously, they'll be playing against Toluca, like we mentioned earlier, on Friday at 7:30. So get your tickets if you haven't already. But which actually, Christian, I know you asked me for tickets. That it looks like they're dropping. My tickets are dropping, so I just need to double check, see if my dad wants to go, and I'll let you know, man, because that way you guys can Frank can use them. But should be a very good game. I think some people may see it. Toluca, another Liga MX. Toluca is a very good team. I think they don't get any respect. And I say this as a Liga MX fan and follower for a long time. Toluca, I think won since 98, 97, 98. So it's been 20 something years, 25 years. They won 10 titles, bro. And no one gives them any kind of respect, at all.
Wild,
it's crazy. I mean, they're very good, and they've struggled recently. It's been a while since they've won. But they played in a couple finals. They've gone all the way to semis. They're always challenging. They have very good players most of the time coming through. Obviously, they do a very good job of the players that they do bring from South America or wherever. They are very good when it comes to that. But yeah, they're just they're not respected at all, which is crazy to me. I'm trying to compare it to another team, and I don't know. I don't know what team I could compare it to, in like world, because again, to me, it's like just crazy. You look at like how well, and here, let me see if I can pull it up. What are your thoughts on Toluca, man, about the match as I pull this up?
I mean, I'll be honest. I don't know much about Toluca lately.
The
I just remember.
disrespect, I'm telling you, dude.
I just remember Toluca, like, talking about my friend. That was like middle school, Toluca with Cardoso
Mm-hmm.
and I don't remember all the names, but I just remember Cardoso, like he owned the Mexican league, like that was his league.
This is
And
correct.
and it was a good time for Toluca. Like they were on top of the world. I remember I would catch some of the games, and I mean, it happens at their stadium also. It's called La Bombonera,
Mm-hmm.
and it was wild. Like it just seemed like a crazy place to go play, especially like it's funny. I was watching a video today of a designer, one of the guys that designed the Boca jersey with the little stars, the CABJ, like the old school ones, the from the 80s. And he was talking about how he got his inspiration from Formula One.
Mm-hmm.
And he said back in the day in Formula One, there was a car by, I can't remember, McLaren, I think it was, and the car was all black. So he said, the drivers, they would, if you were driving, whatever, 100 miles an hour, and then you would look back on your rear view mirror and you saw like a black car coming for you, like it kind of gave you, some cagazo, like like it's like, death is coming for me. Like, look at this black car. And even if you didn't want to, you would let the car kind of go by. That's what he was saying, right? And he said he wanted to apply the same mentality to like soccer. How can I make a jersey that when people see it, it kind of scares you? And I feel like a lot of teams, like even like Boca, not just because I'm a Boca fan, but when you go to stadiums like that, like those stadiums kind of give you some type of fear. That's when you talk about, the fan culture, the ambience of everything. And I just remember like when people used to go play at Toluca, like it was tough. Because imagine it was all red, like they are the devils, los Diablos Rojos, and it just kind of gives you like some, I don't know, like a sense like you're literally going to hell to play, and and it was wild, at least back in the early 2000s,
Yeah, and again, it's still that way. They're obviously just haven't won. I was looking. Okay, so look, it says 98. So 98 they won 1, 99 they won 2, 2000 that's 3. 2002, that's 4. I had to look at my fingers because I'm an idiot. 2005 is 2005. It's 5, 8, 6, and then 2010 they got their 7th. So they won that many, and then in Invierno 2000 they runner up, so they could have won another one. 2006 they could have won another one. They were runner ups. These are runner ups. Then Apertura 2012, that's another runner-up. 2018, another runner-up, and 2022. So they could have easily won 13 titles. It's crazy. And again, they just don't get the respect that the other teams have because they're smaller. They're a smaller team, and they're right outside Mexico City, so they're not going to get the Mexico City cloud that maybe Pumas America and Cruz Azul get. Even the Cruz Azul hasn't done shit. Sorry for that, but they've only won like one title in like 30 years. I mean, but again, this team is just, they're very disrespected. And I think I was listening to their goalkeeper. I think Volpe is his name. He's Brazilian, but I think it was last season. They were mentioning how they were basically that. They're like, nobody talks about us, and that's fine. We're here. I think they were like one of the best teams during the tournament last year, and then obviously they ended up exiting in La Liguilla, so they lost in the playoffs. But it was just one of those. Is like no one talks about us, and at the end of the day, they don't care anymore. Like they're like, dude, you know what? That's fine because we just keep proving people wrong. And so to me, this is a very good matchup for the Dynamo. Win or lose, obviously you want them to win for sure, but I think that it's going to be a very good measuring stick for them against Toluca. Yeah. So I'm personally, I'm very excited. I don't think there's a particular. I think actually take that back. Alexis Vega is the only player that I would say is like, oh man, I remember from Toluca. But Toluca and Chivas also have a lot of players that played either for both of the teams, so it's kind of cool. But but yeah, it should be a fun game, man. It should be a fun game, and hoping that the Dynamo get a win so they can move on. But it's gonna be a test, that's for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah,
man.
for sure. And I can't remember now, but I saw the bracket, and even the games that, I mean, obviously, as you move on, is gonna get harder, but like it gets harder, like with the teams that are coming up. But yeah, like you said, this is gonna be a really good. It's kind of like the Dynamo now in a way, right? Like it's a team that is really good, but a lot of people don't talk about them just because it's Houston.
Yep.
You have your flashy Seattle's, your flashy LA teams, your Miami. But I mean, Houston is, I would say, I would dare to say top 10 right now in the way that they play. Maybe not obviously points, but in the way that they play, in the way that they move the ball, in the way that the team is set up, and just the talent. I mean, lately Houston has been, not like same thing, not names, but like when you look at players individually, like some of the guys that we have are very talented.
Hear this out. I was gonna say the stupidest thing, or it's gonna sound funny because I was gonna say if they can only score goals, and that right there was gonna sound stupid because they just scored 3 goals, right? Yeah, but I meant it in the exactly
like Ben.
But
I tell Ben,
right? But it's like, but what I meant is like if they can just unlock that striker, right? If they can just Ponce's, he's coming, man. He's gonna get a bunch of goals. Whether it be like the rest of the season, next season, like however long he's here, you can definitely put some money that if he's healthy and he has opportunities, he's gonna put goals. Like Dago said, I mean, the guy's dangerous. He puts a lot. His work rate is very high. Just a matter of having those opportunities in front of him. Going and looking at the table that you speak of for like the knockout stages. Obviously, Houston against Toluca. So if you can. If Houston can beat Toluca, then they'll move against either whoever wins from Colorado and Juarez. And then from there on, then you're going to where America Atlas is facing and St. Louis Portland. So, I mean, it's pretty doable. Again, you beat Toluca and you can go pretty far, I think. Toluca is going to be, and like anything, you take it one game at a time, and as they should. But I feel like Toluca, again, it's going to be a very high measuring stick, which that could work in your favor and that can go against, right? Because sometimes you play a big team, you beat them, and you already have like a winner tie. And yet again, it was so rigorous in everybody that you're so tired for the next game. So it all depends. But I think it should put the team in a good spot. Because either way, or more like you don't really want to go into a giant break. Because other than that, if they don't, beat Toluca, then they won't play till like August 24th against Toronto. So it's a long break. I mean, it's good and bad, right? But there's just so much to win in Leagues Cup. If you want to be able to get to play international soccer again and a shot of Champions Cup, then you definitely want to go as far as you can here. And that's why they made it the way they made this tournament. I mean, some people may not like it. Some people may prefer US Open Cup or other tournaments, which is fine. I like all of them. If you want your team to win titles, you definitely want them to play as many, competitions as possible. But this one, just the way it's set up, again, you get, I think it's 3, right? I'm not mistaken. I think it's 3 slots into the Champions Cup. So that's a lot. I mean, 3 of them, the US Open Cup only gives you 1, or other tournaments give you. Yeah, just a champion. Here you get 3. So, because they play at 3rd place. So yes, it'd be 3. So it's just kind of it's interesting, man. It's interesting.
Yeah.
And good job. Hurtado says the Leagues Cup games aren't going to affect any of the schedule of the regular MLS season. Correct? Yes. Yeah. So it doesn't affect anything, dude. This a standalone tournament, basically a break from MLS. So they give enough time that, this competition goes in the middle of the MLS season. And so you have no excuses on, trying to rest players either and stuff like that, dude.
For sure. It's going to be fun, man. I mean, say what you, like you said, say what you say about this competition. It's flashy, it's about the money, it's about this, it's about that. But it's a good measuring stick to see how you compare. I mean, let's be honest, Liga MX, maybe they have fallen off, in the last few years, but they still, they still make it to the international tournaments, the Club World Cup. We only seen just one American team make it. Other than that, it's been all Mexican teams. So, if you want the MLS to be able to compete, I mean, you literally have to go head to head with the Mexican teams as many times as you can. And I know maybe it's inconvenient for the Mexican teams, and I know, maybe it's inconvenient for everybody, but it's a good tournament to kind of do in a 1 month. You don't play a lot of games. Good thing there's a break, for the league.
Right.
And it gives you, like you said, it gives you another chance to kind of get to that Champions League spot, and I don't know. I like it. I like the competition, even though I haven't watched them. And also the fact that, if you tie, you go to penalties. Like, it also, it gives you that American, like entertainment, like every game literally counts for something, because every game matters, which kind of in the regular league, you can say the opposite. Not every game matters, because you can lose 3 in a row, but then you win 3 in a row and you're back in it,
So it puts a little bit more urgency for sure. And obviously seeing big teams like Rayados didn't make it, Chivas didn't make it out of it. FC Dallas didn't make it. Funny. So they're just, there's but obviously the bigger names that I mentioned, Rayados, Chivas, those teams, they don't want to not make it out of there. Yeah. But somebody has to. I mean, crazy to me that Juarez makes it right over Dallas. I guess they're in the same group. Actually, you know what? I have it right here.
Shoot, last year it was like Querétaro, right? Like,
Querétaro was the big surprise, and Querétaro didn't make it out. Yeah. That's what's crazy.
Yeah. And same thing. I mean, other than like the sporting side of thing, I think is also pride.
Right.
I think Mexican teams and Mexican fans still have that pride of being like, look at this MLS league. Like, it's so shit. Right. Yeah. And then when your team doesn't make it out, you're like, oh shit, like, should we reevaluate, how we can't even beat MLS teams? Like, are we bad or are they
Leon
good?
Didn't make it out. Leon and Guardado, which is somebody that Diego Gonzalez mentions, looks up to Monterrey, didn't make it out. Chivas didn't make it out. Dallas didn't make it out. Chicago, Leon, Minnesota United, Tijuana didn't make it out. RSL, obviously, Querétaro, San Luis, Puebla, Charlotte, Nashville got eliminated. Pachuca. Dang. Pachuca? No, Pachuca made it. I'm looking at FootMob, and I think it's wrong. And then Santos was the one that didn't make it out.
And it's crazy because more teams make it that don't make it. So to be in that not make it pile is like, it's a little bit hurt the pride there,
Yeah, I agree, man. So, I mean, I don't think it's fair for us to do a prediction in this elimination matches. As I was a Houstonians, I think we're all gonna hope that the Dynamo win, especially against Liga MX teams. But these tournaments they're starting to become fun. I mean, they were fun to me last year. I will say though, and we'll kind of go into my last little thing here, but I haven't really seen that many games of League Cups like I did last year. And this is my train of thought. I wonder if I'm just a little burned out of soccer, which is bad to say, but we had so many tournaments, right? We had Euros, we had Copa America. It's just been a lot. And so, exactly. That's where that hair came, Rushan, Argentina winning. But the Olympics too. There's obviously Olympic Games. We aren't gonna really talk dash because there's like no dash anything for like 2 more weeks, unless we hear something where they were the coach or anything. But there's 2 dash players playing in the gold match of the Olympics, which is technically 1, but because Jane Campbell is in the reserves for Team USA, but Tarsiani, the defender, starter for Brazil. So. That'll be the matchup, Jane against Tarsiani. Should be a good one. No matter what, they already got a medal, basically. It doesn't matter knowing who gets a gold, who gets a silver. I've watched a couple. This is what I was going to say, which is crazy. I think I watch more Olympic games than I watch Leagues Cups. games, and if not, it's right there because apart from the two Dynamo games, I think I watched a little bit of the Chivas San Jose. I watched a little bit of the Chivas LA Galaxy. Earlier, I watched the one for Nashville, New England a little bit. So I've seen a couple, but I've seen, I think, sorry, my mic fell off. I've seen some, I think I've seen quite a good, maybe like 3 or 4 for the women's Olympic soccer. And then for the men's, I've watched probably 3. So I've watched the France, I watched Spain. And yeah, I mean, it's just, they're fun to watch too. I think like those up and comers are fun to watch, man.
Yes, it's crazy. Like there's literally has been soccer almost every day this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild, but nos estamos empachando.
Rushan
I
said,
like it.
Rushan said the best game to him was Cincinnati, New York. I'm not gonna lie, dude. 4-2. That I mean, that's 6 goals in one game, but oh wait, this is that crazy one that I think Dustin told us. Because New York City FC was winning 2-0. And from the 79th minute to the 89th, since he scored 4 goals.
Sheesh.
So, yeah, I see your point. I remember this now looking at him full off. But I mean, yeah, I mean, on paper, there's been some good games for League Cup. I don't think we're not saying that it's been a bad competition by any means. It's just that I personally haven't seen as many as last year. Before it was kind of fun because like I would be like, hey, what's on, and you just watch it, you know. Lately, well, that too, I've been busy in the afternoons, but sorry, but yeah, it's just it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different, man.
But I mean, it's fun that people get to just turn on the TV and there's soccer, you know.
Oh, for sure. And there's also the other spectrum too, because obviously most of this game, well, all of the games are in Apple TV. And some are in, you know, regular TV. And it's very, what's it called? It's not going to be your favorite team. You know, it's whoever the hell they want to pick that think it's a good match for the day. They'll put on national TV. And so I was talking to like Rodrigo and my dad, and they're like, we really haven't seen anything. Which Rodrigo, I understand because he doesn't pay for the MLS pass. But I set up my dad with mine. So there's no excuse. Come on, man. Like you literally just turn the TV on and watch it, you know. But it's understandable because not everybody has it. And then you know, if you're like us that probably have it because of MLS, then you're good. But now if you're a Liga MX fan, it makes it a little bit harder if you don't have it, you know, because you're not watching those. I mean, you don't need it, you know, if you're not going to watch the MLS. So it's different. Which I was my David was telling me that in Argentina, the pass was only like $5. So the Apple TV thing, because they're big Inter Miami fans. You know how it goes.
Oh, right? Everybody's
Inter Miami fan. Yeah, I mean, he had
the whole country is a Miami fan.
Well, I don't know if you didn't get to see him, but he had a jersey from Inter Miami at the game. And all that stuff. Big Inter Miami. Yeah, big Inter Miami fan. He's a big. He used to be a Barcelona fan. That's how it goes, you know. Like Messi signed elsewhere, and you just become that fan. But
there's a lot of people that went from being Barcelona fans to PSG fans to Miami fans, and
you know what's crazy?
Trend, but you know.
I always felt like I was a Messi fan. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, the whole like for instance, if we say like who you pick, Ronaldo or Messi, I'm always gonna say Messi. But I'm not to that extent, you know, if that makes sense. Like to the extent, but because when he went to PSG, I still try to watch some of the games, and I think, bro, he was there 2 years? I think almost 2 years for sure. I think I've watched one game. I think that's it. Like I just lost touch, and I still watch Barcelona. Even like now, like there's literally not a lot of Barcelona, you know, players from like obviously when I started watching and all. But I still definitely watch them over like what Messi's doing. But it's fun. Like, I mean, that's why we went to the Inter Miami game, thinking that maybe we'll see Messi or Luis Suarez. And we got duped, man. Suarez wasn't even there to bite anybody. So, man, disappointing on that. But Christian, man, it's been a great show. I think we pretty much hit everything we're going to talk to this week. We'll catch you guys next week. Hopefully Tuesday night we'll record. Hopefully Friday goes well and we're here talking about another Dynamo game. And if not, we'll still be here. Or we can decide to take a break, whatever it will be. You'll find out on our social medias. But Christian, I guess the last time, tell the people how they can connect with us, brother.
Yes, sir. BayouCitySoccer.net is going to be the website, guys. Don't forget, go check it out. You can see everything and anything there. You can get some merch. You can get you can buy us a coffee if you have some spare change to kind of give us and contribute to the cost. Shout out Ugly Guppy that they're contributing. There should be some good content coming out to kind of showcase what they do as well. So hopefully that will be coming soon. But if you haven't yet, go to the YouTube channel, subscribe there, give us a like, give us a thumbs up. Go to the Instagram page, follow us as well at Bayou City Soccer, and just go to X. Go to the X Twitter, and just give us a follow there. I think we already hit the 2,000 mark, but we're trying to get to those DT numbers. So go help us out over there. Don't forget that we're here for the Houston community, so we're trying to bring you as much coverage of Houston soccer as we can, even if the Dynamo or the Dash or whoever represents us is not playing. We'll try to be there and just kind of showcase, soccer in general. So thank you guys for supporting us. Honestly, it goes a long way. We really appreciate you guys tuning in, leaving us questions. If you have any questions during the week, tweet at us. We'll get back at you and, we'll throw it on the podcast. Thank you to everybody. Like we said, to that one guy that, stopped us in the middle of
Hit us up,
Stadium.
Bro. I know it's not Dago. So hit us up. Tell us exactly the shirt you were wearing. We know. You remember, right?
We know you know. Yeah,
we know you know. And yeah, man, thanks. I keep saying Hurtado, Jay Hurtado. Thanks. He said, thanks, guys. Shout out from LA. Man, thanks for listening all the way from LA, man. It's early over there. It's only 8:15 over there.
Early
so thanks for listening.
Dinner.
Chupame la chile. I love that name, bro. Keep up the good work, boys. Can't always watch live, but always keeping up with the channel. Great stuff, man. Love it. Thank you guys for listening, tuning in. Again, we try to do this live to have a little bit more interaction with you guys. But the podcast always there. Make sure you like, subscribe. Podcast feed. I know Christian already mentioned it. Spotify, Apple Podcast, whatever you like. Give us a review
Follow
if
us.
you love. Yeah. Oh yeah, and that's exactly right there. You also you'll find me retweeting mostly. I kind of grew out of the stage. I used to tweet fucking retarded stuff, if that makes sense. Like, oh my god, man. Why
mostly Drake lyrics.
Dude, yes. Yeah. I mean, the dumbest.
That was a guess. That was a guess.
No, I should
guess
now and then. But I just meant like I've always think I'm a funny guy, which I feel like I am, but I've censored myself to not do stuff like that. So I was gonna say, if you follow me, it probably won't get you far because I'm usually just retweeting nowadays and liking stuff. But
that's funny.
Yeah, if you want to hear my thoughts, man, ask them and I'll let you know. But yeah, definitely throughout the maturity level, it's higher than it used to be, if that makes sense.
We're kind of adults now.
Yeah, just a tad, bro. Just a tad.
But
and I was gonna say, you mentioned Ugly Guppy. Yeah, also we're still looking for a sponsor. Like, so legit.
Yes.
If you're interested in sponsoring us, the stream itself, reach out to us. I think it's like $10 a month or something like that. If you want to help us, I mean, it goes a long way, and that would help us play this live with a bigger audience, as well. And we would make it, your own, whether it be your company or hell, if it's just you, Rushan, if you want us to say sponsored by Rushan, we can definitely make that happen. So, I mean, it'll go a long way. We're trying to figure that out still, but yeah, reach out to us if you're interested. Or like Chris said, you can buy us a coffee, buy us a beer, and you can put a note there, however much you give, and you can be like, hey, this is for the streamers or this is for whatever. And it definitely go a long way. We're getting better. Our creative team is getting bigger. I mean, Bayou City Soccer in 2 years has like boomed, literally. We have quite a lot of things to help us record, to do interviews and videos. So we're getting there. We're trying to get it set up and trying to get as much content for you guys that, love the Houston Dynamo and Houston Dash, of course, and Dynamo too. So anyways, I just want to throw that out there. I am sorry I cussed earlier. I do apologize if there are sensitive ears. Now I'm going to have to make this an explicit video, but it is what it is. I got to laugh. You got to laugh. Again, I apologize in that aspect. But, man, don't forget to hold it down and keep it forever orange.
Deserved.